How's everybody doing? My name is Kenny Honor, CEO and co-founder of Come Home. Welcome to our first episode of the Bold to Bold series. Bold to Bold is a mini-series in which we interview men who've been through the hair loss journey to give us a live testimonial about what it felt like as they were going through that process, what it feels like now that they're on the other side, and what it really means to go from bald to bold. We have my guy, Hatu Kanu, aka HK, here with us on the first episode.
What's happening? Oh my gosh. First one, man. I am honored to be here with y'all. This is such a cool concept. I'm excited to get into it.
My God. Thank you for being here. Obviously, your
Sure.
God has been holding us down, holding the brand down for a long time. So when we decided to go with the first person, obviously you're one of the first guys that came to mind. So, we always like to stay with the home team. So we got you here today.
I appreciate
So HK, let's go into a little bit of introduction about yourself, man. Tell the people, name, where you're from, who you are, what year you came home, and maybe even a fun fact if you got one, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Hatu Kanu, originally from Raleigh, North Carolina, born and raised. Uh, Year I came home. I came home in 2014, I believe. 2014 or 2015. I think it was like
Okay.
2015.
So that means you got your 6 or 7 year anniversary coming up.
Oh yeah, I'm a 4-star, 5-star general in this. I'm the head of the militia at this point. Yeah. So anniversary is coming up. It's been quite some time, but been a great journey. I'm really happy I did it, and I can't even believe that I had hair, as crazy as it sounds now.
Okay.
And
HK,
my fun fact is that I am the first one on the miniseries Ball to Bold. So that to me, hey man, listen, it's a big deal for me.
I like that vibe, and I like that vibe for sure. Again, dog, thank you for joining us. We're super excited to have you. Super excited to kick it off with you, man. So again, ball to board, it's all about walking folks through that experience for you, that hair loss experience from when you were really down bad from the start, and when you came out on the other side of it, killing it ball to ball like you are today. So let's start with the story, man. Give us the background. Tell us about the day that you actually came home. Like, where are you at? What are you going through? Kind of give some people some detail, some detail about that, bro.
Yeah, for sure. So back then, this was 2015. I lived in Harlem and had gone out the night before, just nice wholesome activities. And the next day, I was in bed resting. I think I was praying or something along that nature. And I just so happened to take my iPhone at the time. I don't even know which iPhone it was, but it had the front camera.
Okay.
And I like looked at my face in the camera, and um the hairline that was looking back at me was just not acceptable. I was like, whoa, buddy, that is not it. Now, if you know anything about like the iPhone cameras, like those front cameras are distorted, but like I just was not thinking straight at the time, and it shook me so bad that I immediately called my dad, and I was like, yo, I think I'm gonna cut my hair off. And he was like, well, the good thing is if you decide that you're going to cut it off, it will grow back. So you may as well give it a shot. Now, I've only known my dad to be bald. I've seen pictures where he and I were there and he had hair, but I don't remember him not being bald. So he was a big proponent of it.
So
So
most of your life you already seen it. So you already foreshadowed that might have been your future back in the day.
low key, yes, because my dad has always been bald and had a beard. So I kind of knew what it would look like. I look like my dad a lot. So
And
it's like,
your pops move with it if you know.
oh yeah, very much so, very much so. So I was like, all right, listen, this is a win-win for me. So whatever decides to happen here, like I'm on it.
No doubt.
So even before that, right, I had been having like times where like my barber, I would go to the barber shop and I just started to realize every time that hairline was coming back a little bit, and I like wasn't happy about it because my hair is naturally blonde.
Mm-hmm.
And I would start to notice, because you look at yourself more than other people and notice things about yourself that other people probably don't.
Yeah.
So I noticed that the corners were starting to thin out a little bit, or like it was starting to get pushed back a little, and the hairline was like going further and further back on my head. So I asked the barber, I was like, yo, I think I'm gonna just try and like cut it off. And the barber's like, oh no, you got a few more years before that. There's no need. Now, obviously, he has vested interest in having me come back to get my hair cut. And I knew if I told him this again, like after my dad and I had this conversation, he was not going to cut it off.
Yeah.
So real dramatic, went into the bathroom and got the Andis. Y'all know this thing, the Andis T liner. I'm sure everybody got,
Everybody knows that.
every black man has an Andis T liner.
Every
So
barbershop got them.
exactly. The normal barbershop liner. So went into my bathroom, pulled it out, and just literally looked in the mirror and just started hacking away at it. Like I knew it wasn't going to be the final mission, but I just had to like get it started.
You just
Right.
jumped off the porch with it, bro.
Literally had to. I just had to dive in. So after that, put a beanie on, and walked to the barber shop that was like right around the corner where that's where my barber was, and like walked into the shop again, real dramatic.
Yep.
Went in there and took my hat off like this, and he was like, "Oh man," and I was like, "Bro, I need you to clean me up," and like that was the start of it, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So there's one thing we got to talk about, HK. I got to take it back a bit. You mentioned the barber. And like, I don't think people really realize how much the barbers actually have to do with your hairline getting pushed back.
Oh yeah.
And then also how much of a role they play with keeping you from coming home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they're actually doing the damage on the front end and also on the back end, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, there are a lot of barbers that owe a lot of us bald men cash apps, right? And we will take Bitcoin for it, honestly. Like it's bad. So a lot of times, like people will like if a barber messes up, they will try and correct by creating a new hairline and pushing it back. And over time, then your hairline is pushed back. It's not even like it is receding naturally. It's your barber keeps on pushing it back. So yeah, we definitely have a list of complaints for barbers all across the nation and the world, frankly.
Hey, so clearly, man, you finally came home. Can we talk a bit more? Because I know you, I've known you for a while, and honestly, I can't remember when you had hair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
known you rocking the ball for a while, even before I came home.
yeah.
Can you talk a bit about how you felt when you finally came home that day? You left that barbershop. You know what I'm saying? Did
Mhm.
you walk out, put the hat back on, like you feeling different, or did you walk out like, yo, I'm a new man, like I'm with this now?
Yeah, well, I put the hat back on because it was cold outside, and my head found a newfound coldness. But the best way to describe it, it was literally just liberating, right? And it was liberating even before I went to the barbershop because I knew that I didn't have to think about my hairline anymore. I wasn't concerned about it. I just was concerned about, okay, the head has to be clean and just like keeping it clean. So it was liberating. I feel like I was able to like shake off some shackles that had me, my hairline had me enchained, right?
You
And
was,
I just was able
was
to,
was you in Harlem at this time?
I was,
The little
I
Harlem
was.
shake off to shake,
Oh,
get that pressure
literally
off.
just take that. Exactly. So it was like freeing. And then the other thing too was like, okay, it's a holistic aspect, right? So I thought of, and this is how I think of myself, like from a holistic standpoint. So if I don't have hair, then what are other things that I would focus on? So immediately, right when I left there, I went and signed up for a gym membership
Okay.
because I have two younger brothers, and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be the fat, older, bald brother. So, I like started to make sure that that really like amped up as well.
No doubt, no doubt. So now, we're talking about 6, 7 years in the game. Can you talk about how you feel rocking the ball now compared to then? Is there like a much stronger confidence with it now? Are you like 100% with your new look? Talk about it now, because I know obviously I'm at the crib now, so when I walk in the rooms, I'm already knowing the vibes.
Yeah,
So,
of course, of course.
how you feeling about it now these days?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a certain, and not to be cliche, like boldness that comes with baldness, right? And like me walking into places, like I don't feel, I feel like mature, and I feel like I have found my look, right? So that gives me a big sense of security in the fact that like I know what my look is, and my look is this is tailored for me, right? And I'm trying to take care of myself and make sure that by the time that you catch me at 60, that I'm looking just like this, right?
You know it don't crack.
Exactly.
Crack.
You keep that water on you and you keep healthy, then like you can just, maintain. I might hit y'all with some salt and pepper, but that's about it. Like, so that kind of thing, right? And I think that just being able to have that assurance of who you are and that confidence, like it really does help. And when I walk in, I see other bald men as well. Like, bald recognize bald. Like,
Facts.
it's like,
Hey, that's a quote, H. That's a
yeah,
quote.
yeah, exactly. It's like bald recognize bald. And I know that this, like, some folks at Wharton have done studies that have said like bald men are more confident. And I think that really at the root of it is that, like, we don't have to worry about like, oh, what's my hair doing? And or oh, I have to carry around this brush in my pocket like we used to in high school, or like
Do-rag days.
keeping the do-rag on, or do you have to get out the do-rag lines like this? Nah. So it's like, at this point, I just feel very solidified in who I am and like what I look like.
My man, my man. Okay, no doubt, no doubt. Now, H, what about the routine, man? You're officially bald now. You're killing it. So you have to have some kind of routine now. Like, can you talk to us a bit about how you keep the bald fresh and clean? Because most people think, when you go bald, it's pretty easy to maintain it. But like, I found out the hard way. You know what I'm saying? I'm shaving every other day now to keep a clean shave bald. So what do you do to maintain the look, my dog?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like the ladies with the short haircuts, they'll tell you that it's much harder when they have the shorter haircuts than when they have longer hair. Uh, for me, I actually shave every day. I actually do it in the shower. Most people don't do that. I use a specific razor. I'm not going to name drop because we don't do free ads on here.
And no more free branding.
Yeah, exactly. No free branding, no free ads. So, I go in the shower. I'm able to use this specific razor, and every day I like will clean it off. And the reason I do that is because if I let more time go in between when I do shave, it makes it more difficult, because more hair has grown back. So my thinking is that, like, if I try and clean it every day, then it's not as much of a chore the next time.
For
And
sure.
truthfully, like, I think I barely go more than skipping a day. Like, sometimes I may skip a day, but like, I try to avoid that because it's just more work. But cleaning it, usually we'll use whatever kind of like body wash or whatever to like also just like clean the head as well. And then when I come out, like any kind of products that I'm using on my beard or face, like I'll also put on my head,
For
just for
sure.
a little bit of that extra sheen.
Okay, okay. So talking about the routine, but what about the drip, HK? What about
Yeah,
the drip? Did being
yeah.
bald actually change your style at all, right? Because I know when I was losing my hair, I definitely felt like my new bald look kind of gave me like an older style feeling, older,
Mhm.
more mature look. So I felt like I needed to change my style to match that. What
Yeah.
about you? Did it change your style at all when you decided to kind of come home, or were you kind of already rocking the look that fit with the look you're about to change into?
I think I was already kind of rocking that fit because I've always had like a more, I would probably coin this like a mature style.
Mhm.
But I definitely had a lot more hats, right? That became a lot more of a constant fixture. So like getting hats that would work or stuff like that. And it's like, not necessarily just because for the look, but also just
Yeah.
from a functional standpoint as well, right? Like when you're when you have a bald head, you're gonna sweat a lot more.
Hmm.
Your head is going to get hot or cold depending on where you are. If you're in the sun, you need to protect your head, right? So just protecting from the elements. So I was definitely a lot more focused on like having hats, and it's something that made me a lot more cognizant of it. But luckily, the style that I was working with before already fit into the bald head, so it all just came as part of the package. Holistic, all holistic. It all works together.
My dog, my dog. All right, hey, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go into the lightning round, man. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? I'm gonna hit you with a couple of questions back to back, and I want you to just kind of give us the first answer that comes to the top of your head. All right.
All right. Cool.
All right. First question is gonna be, what is your go-to grooming product? The one you couldn't go without. Your go-to grooming product.
That razor for sure. Just
Mm,
yeah, the razor for sure. Absolutely.
okay, okay. What about your favorite kind of hat? What's your go-to hat?
Dad hats, they're so functional. Like, you can find a cool one that you can just like rock casually, and then just they just serve so many purposes. So dad hats for sure.
No doubt, no doubt. Okay, three most iconic bald men. Three most iconic bald men.
Ooh, three. Man, this is hard. It's hard. You know why it's hard? It's because there's so many iconic bald men, right?
Facts. Louder.
There's so many icons. We have so many icons in the militia, that I think that it's like hard to think of some. So I'm gonna start naming some.
Okay.
Hopefully, I can narrow it down to three. So obviously Jordan,
For sure. Dope.
Ben Bernanke,
Mm-hmm.
Steve Stout,
Mm.
The Rock. Are there any others that I would say? Those are my main ones. I would say maybe like someone like a Chappelle. You know, they're just
Oh yeah, so
all over
many.
the place. Yeah, there's so many. There's so many.
Okay, no doubt, no doubt. That's a solid list for sure. All right, next question we have here, man. Like, say, obviously we're both home. We've been through the struggle, but what would you say right now to someone who just realized they're losing their hair and they're kind of in the middle of that struggle, fighting
Mhm.
that good fight? What advice would you give them right now?
Yeah, I would say honestly, stop fighting. Right? Like I think that it's like one of the things, and this is what your brand does. Is like you have to just embrace your maturity and your natural evolution. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the faster you decide that you are not going to work on fighting and you're going to work more on acceptance of self and like what
Yeah.
you're actually going to eventually become, the better it works out for you. Like we were saying before, there are different things that you can focus on if you're not focused on hair loss or trying to prevent hair loss. You
Mm-hmm.
can work on like how to maintain your beard, right? Or making sure that your body is right, like by going to the gym and fitness and stuff like that. You can make sure that the drip is right with the clothes you're wearing and the hats that you're wearing. So I think that like changing the mindset and looking at it in a glass half full
Mm-hmm.
way would definitely be helpful for that, for sure.
And that's amazing advice because I think a lot of guys that are going through that, they're suffering. A lot of guys are dealing with some embarrassment, some real
Yeah.
anxiety as they're fighting that hair loss, not knowing that
Yeah.
the suffering they're going through, they can put themselves out of their own misery. They can go ahead and just shave it off, and on the other side, like you said earlier, it feels like freedom. It's kind of
Yeah.
liberating.
Yeah.
So,
And I don't want to, I don't want to belittle that struggle at all. I think it's easier to look back on it from this side. A lot of people do really have a hard time with that realization because, hair is something that we don't talk about this as men as much, but men do have a lot of attachment to their hair,
mhm.
right? So, like, even though I may be one to let that chopper breathe and, let some jokes ring out, I still am definitely very empathetic to what that struggle is like, and it is
Absolutely.
something that it is something that is definitely anxiety inducing. So I think that the sooner that you're able to change that mindset and like even just try it out, like it is really a freeing experience, and you'll like it more than you think, and you likely won't go back.
And I'm glad you said that, bro, because I think um even like again where we're at right now, it's definitely easy to look back and kind of like laugh at that stage now, but when I went through it, I was down bad, man. Like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
friends would tell you, I was down bad going through
Oh,
that.
good.
And but I do definitely remember, younger, when I was younger, before I went bald, when I had the sharp hairline, when I was at the barbershop 24/7, when I had the 360 waves, that was a big deal. And I think a lot of women don't understand the attachment most guys have to our hair, because if we're just
Yeah,
rocking the brush cut or the Caesar, I think most women look at it like, boy, you ain't really got no hair. What are you
yeah,
talking about?
yeah, yeah.
But like, we hit the barbershop and post up in barbershop and just laugh all
Too
day
sweet.
for hours. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it was a major part of our life. You talked about it, having the brush every day, you know what I'm saying, in the back sack,
Shave
in the back
cream,
pocket, with the do-rag on the bus
do
to school.
rags. Yup.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely a strong part of, our identity that's also attached to that. So
Mm-hmm.
when we're losing it, there is some emotional trauma that we got to deal with. There is some like mental trauma bags that we have to go through.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up because that's an important piece to talk about.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's definitely like losing a piece of you. So it's not easy, but I'm here to tell you, trust me. And there are tons of us that can tell you, like, once you make it to the other side and just cross that Rubicon, it's the best choice that I think I've made in a long time.
My man, my man. All right, dude. Our last question here, man. So obviously, you're familiar with the brand. You're my guy. So we talked about the brand tons of times. But for folks who aren't familiar, we call it "Come Home" for a couple of reasons. One, the first reason is obviously from a slang standpoint. We use that to convince guys that are going through that hair loss struggle to shave it and come home, right? So back in the day when HK was going through his hair loss, I might be like, "Yo, HK, just give it up, man. Just come home."
Yep.
And that's the one we all kind of already know, that slang version of "come home." But if you notice the brand, we spell it in French, right? It's actually a French phrase, the way we spell it. And we do that because that actually translates to English to mean like a man or as a man. And our entire mission for the brand is to help men embrace their natural evolution and end up being a better version of themselves in the long run. So with that being said, Hatu, can you talk to us about what it means to you to be a man? What does manhood mean to you?
Oh wow. All
Yeah.
right.
You're
Yeah, all right.
taking it there.
We're taking it deep. We're taking it deep. Yeah, I mean, I think that for me, manhood is just constantly working to try and evolve,
Mm,
um, and just try and get better, like in every aspect,
yeah.
right, in your life. So, I think that it's one of the most satisfying things as a man is like being able to look back at previous years and see like different ways that I've been able to change, right? And it's not in just one way, like it's in many multiple ways throughout my life. So I think that like as I keep growing as a man and keep maturing, like my biggest aspect of concentration is in all facets of my life to
Yeah.
just keep evolving and keep growing. And I think that that's where the importance comes in. And that's something like this, with like when you're talking about like embracing that natural evolution of your hair, right, or like the status of like hairline and stuff like that, it is part of all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that like at that age when I cut off my hair, a that made me a man, right? I started to view myself and carry myself in more of a way, because it was like I've said, I know what my look is now. Like I could grow my hair back. I'm not going to. So like, so it's like for me, that aspect, which is really crazy because it's like almost like the top of the evolution, like the top of my head.
Oh yeah,
It's
talk
like,
about it. Talk
yeah,
about
it's like the top of my head. That's the top of the evolution where I know like the end is here for this. It's not changing.
it. Yeah.
Right. So it is definitely a sense of just like feeling very solidified in that. And I think that there's a lot of satisfaction that comes with being able to grow and evolve and put in the work to do that. And then noticing the fruits of your labor. If you look back and you like, I'm sure you can say, 10 years ago that you're not the same person that you are right now.
Yeah.
Right. I think that is the core essence of being a man and just continuing to become better as one.
Now, that's amazing, man. You gave a really good answer there, talking about the growth and the development. And really, for me, you got to think about the mindset it takes for you to be able to embrace change with confidence, right? And
Mhm.
to me, when I think about a man, I think it's a guy that's someone, whatever, who has the ability to deal with change with their chin up, head held high, 10 toes down,
Yep.
and be able to accept, whatever's coming their way and
Yep.
work through it. Obviously, there may be some emotions involved with some of those changes, but being able to look those emotions, you straighten the eyes, understand what's happening, take it all in, and continue to progress though. Right.
Yes.
Some
Yeah.
days you're gonna be down. It's not always gonna be easy, but
Mhm.
it's always about going forward, constant
100%.
progression, right?
100%.
So that was beautiful, bro. I really appreciate that
And
answer, man.
to your point with that, I think that to make sure that you're able to do that and then be able to deal with the ambiguity and that kind of change that comes on and continue to progress and grow and evolve, like you just have to make sure you build a strong foundation,
Yeah.
right? So just on, and again, in all different facets. And I think that as you build a strong foundation, you're confident in yourself and who you are, and then you're able to use that to deal with any kind of changes that come your way, and then also just be able to grow and evolve into different in different aspects and different facets as well.
Oh, hey, you mentioned one more thing. We're gonna wrap it up in a second, but you mentioned one more thing I want to circle back to just now. You mentioned being yourself, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's another big piece about the whole come home logic and just embrace your natural evolution. There's a piece of authenticity in it too, right?
Yes.
There's a piece of like, hey, like this is what's happening to me. This is kind of who
Yeah.
I am now. Let me embrace my natural evolution, be authentic about it, and continue to move forward, right?
Yeah.
There's we've seen right now. There's other things in the market. Some guys are going out getting the man weave. There's a lot of things out there happening right now.
Yeah.
But and I'm not going to knock the man weave, but
Yeah.
I'm sure
No.
there's some stress involved in that too. Like,
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like you rocking the man weave, trying to, convince a woman that, this is your real hair. She comes to find out that you're fraud all along. Like, that's gonna hit you too, right? That
Yeah.
self-confidence is gonna take a hit. So for us with Come Home, there's a very strong piece of it that's just super authentic, right?
Yeah.
Embrace your natural evolution, be who you are, and go from there. So I think
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, man, because that's
Yeah.
big.
And I think that that's why that's why when you see men who are bald, and like I said before, I said bald recognize bald, like like
Loud
I
that.
think that's why it's almost like it literally feels like a block party when we see someone has come home, right?
Mhm.
Because you know that someone has embraced that authentic evolution that's occurring within them, or outside of them, as the case may be, right? And we are all excited about that because we know what that journey feels like.
Yeah.
So, bald men, I will always celebrate bald men. I will always encourage men who have receding hairlines to come home. Unfortunately, sometimes it may not be in the most empathetic of ways. However, it's all meant and rooted in love,
For
because I
sure.
just want you to want more for yourself, because I surely do.
Hey, I feel you, man. Whatever it takes, we got to bring them all home. Hey,
Exactly.
man, I appreciate your time, my G. You left us with a super strong quote. Ball recognize ball. I believe that for sure. We're gonna stamp that.
Yeah,
Um,
boss.
this has been officially the first episode of the Bold mini series, man. Hatu, we appreciate you 10 times, my G. You got anything left to say to the people before we wrap it up?
Hey man, listen, y'all just come home. Y'all just come home. I love what y'all are doing here. And I think that it's like, it seems funny to some folks, or like some folks don't really understand really what all this entails. But yeah, no, I think you guys should keep going. It is very important. It is very important. So thank you
Man,
guys. I appreciate it for sure.
10 times. Hey, man, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in for sure. Catch us on the next episode. Episode number 2 coming soon of the Bold series. We appreciate y'all. Till next time. We out of here.
Peace.